Welcome to the Kissing Spine podcast. How nice of you to join. In this podcast, I discuss several topics around kissing spine, like what kissing spine is, the different medical treatments, the function of different body parts, functional and dysfunctional training techniques, saddle fit, and a whole lot more. All put together to help you support your horse with the kissing spine. I wish you a lot of fun listening, and if you like this podcast, make sure to become a subscriber so you won't miss any of my episodes. Hi all, and welcome to the new Kissing Spine podcast, and welcome to Villa Villa Kula. If you've never listened or seen one of my podcasts, I have a husky and two Maine Coons running through my 60 square meter apartment, and it's a little bit later at night when I'm recording this podcast, and they're a fair bit awake. So it happens that they start to run all over the place while I'm recording, and I'm not going to lock up my animals just to talk with you guys. But welcome. In this episode, I would like to talk to you guys a little bit more about taking your horse to a trainer's place for training, to a rehab facility, or whether you should actually just try to do the moving as little as possible in order to help your horse. And the reason why I'd like to address this topic is because recently I moved my own horses, and I had the opportunity in my previous yard to take on rehab horses there, but I in the end never really did. And this is something that I received a lot of questions about, and actually I received a lot of requests even within Holland, like, can I just bring my horse to you to do the rehab? Like, would that be a possibility? And I always say yes, it is possible, but I wouldn't really do it. And there are a few components that influence that advice. So that's why I want to spend an entire podcast actually on this topic. Because, well, from a trainer perspective, you have a horse coming in that is in a completely new environment, that probably feels unsafe, is away from his friends, is away from the place that he's familiar with, and then, these people are paying me as a trainer to get this horse moving through the body and get better and healthier. Okay, if you have a horse that's been competing a lot, those type of horses are relatively easier to relocate. But if you have a horse that's barely been anywhere, that is a big change. And to be honest, I'm going to try to put my cat down here because he's in my screen and he's a little bit annoying. Okay, Fluffy, can you just go down, please? Thank you. Sorry about the interruption. So basically, when these horses come in, and I've seen this in different places, is that these horses are not really comfortable and they're not really settling down. Is because they already have their bodies against them, and then you see that they want to, protect themselves a little bit. And a horse that's on guard and that is in self-protection mode is not really a relaxed horse. That horse needs time to settle. They need to work on the basics with them first, and it really takes some time to get them in the right spot. And that is okay, but then you need to have an owner as well that's willing to spend money on that time. And it's okay that, it's not going to take me weeks to get a horse into the place where I want it to be, like going towards you in their movement. But it's just less comfortable for the horse. It's just a fact. And another reason why I actually hold back on the whole relocation towards a trainer thing is because for me personally, going through that kissing spine rehab journey with my horse just really put me into a whole different way of experiencing working with horses. It really changed my life in the knowledge that I have about horses and training and biomechanics and creating my own feeling with horses as well. So, if you take your horse to a trainer that's going to train your horse for you, it's absolutely a possibility. But the downside of that is that your trainer is training your horse. Your horse is getting familiar with the feeling that your trainer is having, on the cues that your trainer is having. That could mean that if you don't develop those skills yourself and you're getting your horse back, you're going to be hugely disappointed, because your horse will not be responding in the same way. And you would still need a relatively high amount of guidance from that trainer to get that same level of feeling with your horse as your trainer has. So, going from the one thing to the other could be very confusing for your horse, very frustrating for your horse. But it's just, you're missing out on a chance to be on your own journey. And for me, having a horse being a part of that journey is sort of what it's about. So if you will let a trainer do a part of the journey for you, and in some cases, if you're disabled, if you have other reasons why, it's really not the time for you right now to rehab a horse, which is very legitimate. If you're in a very bad place yourself emotionally, you're not in the right place to rehab your horse, but your horse needs help, so if in that case you decide to bring your horse to a training facility and to a rehab trainer that's going to help your horse, by all means do it, because that in that setting, as an example, it would be a good decision. If you feel too insecure for yourself to do the rehab, but there's nothing really pressing going on in your life that would make it impossible for you to do it, then I would say hold on to that thought and really cut it down for a minute. Like, is it really, is it just my insecurity? Is it something else? Am I not convinced of my own skills? Or, is there something else? Are you afraid of your horse? Have you been, did you have an accident with your horse? Like, a fair bit of people has been going on with their kissing spine horse until the horse got so frustrated that they literally got kicked off, or flew off the horse, So then getting back in the saddle is a very scary thing. I will be the last person on the planet that's going to deny that. So if it's your own fear, then I would actually, even more so, would try to convince you, or at least reconsider sending a horse to a trainer. And why? Because you need to get on a different energy level with your horse, and you need to start feeling that your horse can be soft and calm and relaxed, and what that feeling is about. Because as soon as you go away from that, you will recognize that change, and then you can already tell, hey, I need to take a step back. Hey, my horse is building up is getting tense. My horse is building up tension. I need to lay back. I don't want to get that pressure cooking up that high. So let's take a step back and find that softness again. Because if you don't recognize the one with your horse, then it's also hard to go back down. So, it's really important to have both these experiences. And the best way to get that is by doing the work yourself and feeling your horse change, and, feeling your horse going up and down. And, it's such an important part of the journey, and therefore I don't really think that there's anyone else who could do a better job at that than you, especially because you know your horse. Are you tremendously frustrated with your horse because it's not the fairy tale dream that you are having, what having a horse would be like? Then honestly, I would recommend talking to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or to a coach, to talk to someone that's going to help you sort that anger and frustration out. Because if you bring that to your horse, regardless whether it's been to a trainer or not, that energy is not going to help you, and it's not going to help your horse. It's not going to help anyone. So, and you getting that sorted out for yourself will save yourself from a great deal of annoyance and disappointments and that kind of thing. So again, the reason why I wanted to address this whole relocating to a trainer thing is because I recently relocated my horses together. So I didn't take one apart and move just one. I moved them together to a new yard, and it took them about a good 3 weeks to settle. And I did a little bit of lunging. I didn't go back to the ridden work. I just did a little bit of lunging. Every day I did a little bit of something, but I just didn't ride them yet. I didn't feel fair to ask that from them. It took about 3 solid weeks for them to settle down. So imagine if I would take one of my horses who was very attached. My horses are a little too, I have to admit, a little too attached to each other. Sometimes it's a little bit bothersome and annoying, but you know, I'd rather have my herd than have them all separated and, you know, miserable. I just don't like it. So, you know, if I would just take one to the trainer, imagine what kind of frustration and annoyance that would get, you know, like it would take him a month at least to settle. Am I going to pay my trainer a full month to train my horse, like to be there so I can settle down before it's even trained? And like having your horse in a training facility is like $1,000 a month or more. So really, am I going to spend $1,000 a month just to have my horse standing there not doing anything? So, you know, it's something, if you want to keep it fair to your horse, it's something that I would really, really think about. And then, you know, having it clear for yourself why you want to bring your horse to a training facility versus doing it yourself, like building that connection with your horse or reestablishing and you know, healing that connection with your horse is something you can do by doing the training yourself. So why would you let anyone else do that? So that is my thought about it. And that's also why I relocated my horses to a place where I cannot take on training horses, because I'm happy to help people, and I do that every day. Like I go to people and, you know, I help people in their own place with their horses there and help them get better with their horses. I love doing that, but I'm not going to take on any training horses, especially not for the coming year. Maybe after that I'm going to change my mind, but from the coming year I decided that I definitely am not going to do that, because I want to stimulate you to do the training yourself while I'm in Holland. So if you're in the US or if you're in Australia, it's really not going to be hard just to send your horse to me. So, you know, don't. But I really want to help people by guiding them through the whole journey and giving them like ideas and techniques to think about when it comes to training their horses. And that is for you as well. So, you know, if you're thinking about bringing your horse to a training facility, again, I would really like you to think about why it is that you want to do this and if it's really the best option for your horse, or whether maybe you could consider doing the work yourself and, you know, not going through the whole moving and all that hassle. So, yeah, this was a topic very close to my heart, so I really wanted to address that for a minute. But there's also something else that I would like to highlight a little bit in this podcast. And that is that I've been working on setting up a subscription module, because right now the courses that I have pretty much demands you to be active for a full year. And, you know, sometimes life gets in the way. Sometimes something happens with our horses. You know, they become unfit, or maybe, you know, the weather is against you. There could be all kinds of things. And then you get behind on that whole year of work. And then you spend that money, you're finding yourself, you know, getting behind, and it's just a little bit frustrating. So I've been thinking with my team about, you know, what is it that we can do and offer these people to either have have a more budget friendly access to the course material, and also to, you know, keep on going in your own pace, so not force you to go through a certain rhythm. So we are currently building a subscription based course which will take you through some things step by step, and actually it's going to be available for between $25 to $30 a month, and you can cancel it probably after a year. It will automatically be canceled, or you can do a one-time payment and pay it off for a lifetime. So it's not having any support, but it will have a more community-based option available as well. So we're working and developing, but for the ones who've been encountering the higher prices of the courses as we speak, I am going to offer a new way to join the course and, you know, still get access to videos and trainings and exercises and really help you through the journey. So if you're very curious about that, just send me a message on Facebook, send me a message on Instagram. I'm available over email. You can find me in my Facebook group, Kissing Spine Rehab Training with STJ Horse Training, or go to my website, www.stjhorsetraining.nl. If you have any other questions, if you need help with your kissing spine horse, either put a post up into the Facebook group and tag me in it, So I see it that it's specifically for me, send it to me over Facebook or just send me an email. I'm available to you at all times. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and until next one. I would like to thank you again for listening to this podcast. If you think that this podcast is interesting to someone else, please share it on social media so others can find it too. This way we can create more awareness about what the options are with a kissing spine horse.